panelists today. Maya Zankoul, founder of Maya Zankoul Design. Ayman Aitane, CEO of Think Media Labs. Nadine Mawad, women's rights activist. And Omar Christidis, founder and CEO of ArabNet. So the first question is to the audience. Do you know what these four panelists have in common with Haifa Wahbi, Elisa, Saad Al-Hariri, Najib Miati, and Zaven? There is one thing in common between all of these people. Twitter, eh? What did they do on Twitter? Not only do they tweet, but they are among the top 30 most influential Twitters in Lebanon. Maybe there is one difference, is the people I have cited are already known. Yeah, they are already public figures, and of course then they are very much followed on Twitter. But my four panelists, well, we didn't ask them. The first question goes to, I guess, Omar Christidis. So, were you known before or after Twitter?
It's a good question. I think actually I was known, it was a symbiotic experience. I think that since I run ArabNet, and I think ArabNet is the source of my knownness, my reputation, that was something that I built through Twitter, right? So in putting together the conference that we organized, I went around to different countries and met with influential people on Twitter in every country to build the first community that we had coming to the event. So it was a symbiotic process.
So يعني أنا ما فهمت symbiotic process. يعني إنه which came first, the chicken or the egg, you know?
No, I think actually I was known before Twitter.
Yeah. How about Ayman?
Well, social media in general acts as a way to amplify each of our skills and our interests and so on. So I'm sure each of us were specialized in something specific or interested in something specific, and are known to that to some circles. But when you add social media to that element, you amplify that, and the reach grows, and hence the concept of influence. Haifa is much more influential in much more specific things than than each one of us have their own thing. So.
Maya?
Yeah, Twitter definitely helps in helping you spread your reputation more. But for example, in my case, it was my comic blog, which helped me gain the growing list more than the Twitter. But Twitter helped reach a larger audience than the blog alone.
Nadine?
I would say definitely after Twitter.
After?
Definitely.
So you're known, so you all were basically you have some kind of public figure first, and then Twitter helped.
Yeah, I don't know if we're that known. I think we're known among a very small circle of people. But it's definitely before Twitter. I don't think. Yeah, we connected on each other's blogs, but so we didn't even know each other that well. I think before Twitter.
Well, let's see how much you are known. Omar Christidis has 3,500 followers. Ayman and Maya about 5,000 followers each. Nadine has 7,500 followers. هلا Haifa Wahbi has 200,000 followers. Saad Hariri and Najib Miati, Saad Hariri 130,000 followers, etc. So is the number of followers the only criteria to be influential on Twitter? Nadine, what do you think?
Of course. I think it's very obvious. When Saad Hariri joined Twitter, there was a mass joining of Lebanese accounts on Twitter. And Samiyo Nihna, when the eggs are hatching because they have an egg for a photo, they haven't started tweeting yet. And I think tens of thousands of people have registered just to follow him. And that's not a good criteria to have followers who are not they're not actually active on Twitter in the first place.
Are you saying they're not actually tweeting people?
Yeah, in a more like, your power on Twitter is if you're followed by people who have a lot of followers, who are influential. So if you have 10,000 followers and they have very few followers themselves, that doesn't get you anywhere. If you have a few followers, every one of them has 100,000, 200,000 followers, then your reach becomes a lot bigger.
Yeah, but I mean, is there some metric that you're saying that if I tweet one time, if my tweet becomes 10 tweets or 100,000 tweets, then this is the reach of my tweet is what really should be measured?
Of course, again.
But you know that this is how they measure it?
Yes, this is how the social metrics. Yeah, and they measure not only the number of tweets you do and the number of followers you have, but how influential. Yeah, and when we say someone's influential on Twitter, what does it mean? It means that if you say something, lots of people are going to listen. So if your followers aren't people who are online, they're not going to read your tweet, right? They're not going to relay it to tens of thousands of people. So the number of followers is a very small factor when it comes to how well you can reach, as well as how well you can reach in Lebanon. For example, a lot of people have, if you have 10,000 followers based in America, that's great, because they're not going to come to your events in Lebanon, they're not going to buy your products in Lebanon, they're not going to, and you're not going to interact with them the same way. So where they are, who they are, how influential they are, how responsive they are to you, how often do they log on to Twitter as well?
But how do you check that? You go through Cloud? Do you check programs like Cloud to decide your influence, to find out? How do you find out that you're influential? Ayman?
Well, the number of followers is usually the most quoted, but it's not the most accurate. It's the easiest to assess, as you take a profile and you check the number of followers that they have. But if you really want to measure, influence and the effect is, you would monitor the interaction of people about how what they respond to, and if they respond to how many followers they have and how much interaction they get according to that. That measures it. The cloud that you mentioned is gradually becoming one of the more, one of the most quoted as a measure of it. But there are many studies for or against it as well. So it's only one element of it. So if you want to measure influence, each one of us here have their own niche where they're influential in it. So when it comes to Nasawiya, for example, they're very specialized in what they do, and they're very well respected for what they have. So that would be a very accurate measure of influence versus, if Omar and I said something related to that, Nasawiya are much more respected in their field more than we are for that specific element.
Okay. So now I turn to Maya and ask her if this success is random or was it planned? Did you actually have a strategy to increase your following on Twitter, or it just came like that?
I never planned for it, and I was actually surprised when I found out I'm among the 30 most influential, because I don't really plan my tweets or have a strategy for it. I think it messes the whole idea of tweeting, because it's supposed to be for fun and when you feel like it. For me, at least, this is how I see Twitter. So it was really random, and when I started Twitter, I didn't know there was something called social media, and that there's a strategy and a way to get followers, and the more followers you have, the better. It was just a way to meet new people who share the same interest. This is how it started, and then it grew on its own. So I just tweet whenever I feel like it. I don't have a strategy, and I just let it happen.
But, okay, you said you use Twitter to reach people who have the same interest. So what do? You search hashtags?
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, when there's a certain event, I search for the hashtag. A certain topic, I search for the hashtag. Or I search for people who are, let's say, designers, or who I'm interested in their cause, or certain brands I want to stay in touch with.
And you take their name and you start talking to them. You say, Fulani Fulani, I like your presentation, or...
Exactly, and I also share daily comments about life in Lebanon. Like if there's something that bothers me, or like if I notice that the Jalati Bridge, they're not going to build it, I tweet about it, because this is something worth mentioning in my...
And you talk to people you don't know.
Yeah, also. It's a way of meeting new people.
You all talk to people you don't know. You all talk to people you don't know on Twitter.
That's the point.
And I haven't been able to do this yet. See, I'm older than
I think there are some principles that a lot of people follow. Would you say that you guys respond to everyone who mentions you?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
It depends.
Not everyone? Respond to everyone who mentions you. right? So this is like one of the basic principles that I try to follow. We would try to follow, like speaking also as ArabNet account, right? Respond to everyone who mentions us, yes? Anything else that you guys, I mean, like scheduling some kinds of tweets on a regular basis. Even my team pushes me to tweet more often, so regularity is pretty important. Other tips or tricks that people have here?
But also the quality of the tweets, like what you are tweeting about, what links you are sharing. I guess it has an influence.
So this is actually my next question is, is tweeting like blogging? Because in the blogs, when the blogs came in, the blog had to have an entity. So people blogged about a certain technology, or it was a personal blog, or so it had to always be consistent. Is it the same thing on Twitter? Can I tweet about the blue skies one day, and about my work the other day, or about my calls the third day, or do I have any? The question is, I guess it's for Ayman. And are you restricted by the 140 characters? I mean, what can you say in 140 characters?
Well, it's a two-part question. First, when it has to what to tweet and how frequently and so on, a lot of it has to do with tweeting things that are of interest to you. You know, each one of us have a certain profession or a certain hobby that they're passionate about. So that would be one thing that's usually the most natural thing to talk about and tweet about topics related to that. But you know, if you come across a bridge that you don't like and you want to talk about that, or if you're at an event and you want to share, if the sky is blue and it inspires you that day, whatever, it works. So if this is who you are, and this is what, if I bump into you on the street and you tell me, Ayman, I'm feeling good, the sky is blue today, if that's what you are in real life, you know, projecting that on Twitter is not a big deal. The 140 characters issue, there's a love-hate thing when it comes to that. A lot of people don't like it because we're used to other social networks where we can talk more and write more about that. But the love element of it allows us to consume more and more content, more data, because when others are restricted to 140 characters, you can do a quick scan on your network that you're connected with, and you can see what's going on quickly. If they were allowed to write more than 140 characters, you wouldn't be able to do a quick scan for it with that.
So the question is, okay, the 140 characters, you don't find it restrictive. And the first question about, you say you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be a personal tweet or a work tweet. It could be anything.
It's you. You, whatever you are today. You're mom, you're a professional, you know, you're moderating here today, so whatever you're comfortable with today, that's you.
And what is your responsibility? I mean, you tweet anything? Do you tweet erroneous information? Do you check the information before you retweet it?
Well, the rules apply to everything. You know, when it comes to even blogging as well as social networks, there are topics that are always, you know, anything has to do with sex, religion, you know, politics. These are usually the most problematic topics, even before the internet. So the rule is, until you're comfortable with the medium, you should not go into the tough topics until you become really comfortable with, you know, picking up an argument on Twitter is kind of difficult. So 140 characters to have a long discussion about the history of war in a certain country or certain area is not straightforward to do via Twitter from an argument perspective. So once you're comfortable with that medium, you can then jump into the tough topics.
Okay. Now I want...
Can I ask a question to the panelists, since you asked something on this?
Yes.
Have you guys tweeted an article that you haven't read? Retweeted an article that you haven't read because you trust the source of the person who's tweeting? Yes?
No, of course not.
You always read every single article. Ayman?
I mean, otherwise I'd be an automated feed that treats the website and
Every
just,
single
pushes
article.
up. Yeah.
Have you done it?
I've tweeted articles I haven't read. It depends on the source, right? So if someone I trust very much is tweeting and I can see in the title, I will probably retweet the article. And I don't understand people who have to put in their bio retweets. I do not endorse. And for me, it's pretty obvious. You know, if you're retweeting something, doesn't mean that you're necessarily taking responsibility for it. Is I wrote a blog post. I take responsibility for the facts and the figures. And sometimes it's you get to trust people online. When people come in, they build a character online, right? So it takes years to build that trust and know, Omar is a cool guy. He's friendly. He works hard. for the region, for Arab technology, entrepreneurship, etc., we all start to trust him and like him and know him. And if he tweets something related to Arab entrepreneurship has boomed somewhere, I would retweet. ما ضروري فوت أعمل check مثلا exactly if it's accurate or not. وما في هالresponsibility الهائلة for retweeting it.
And I was going to answer the question, of course, having posed the question. I've done it before. I don't do it often, but like you said, there's definitely some people who I know what they tweet. Right? I mean, I can think off the top of my head, Dr. Bahir, right? I mean, I know pretty much like the kind of content that he tweets. If I find an article title really catchy that I think other people on my timeline will enjoy, then I will tweet it. But part of what I think is it's about also the kind of followers that you have, and it's almost like they're your audience. What would you not say to them? Would you spam? Would you send something? Is this going to be of interest to them? If I'm going to send them something about something completely random, they follow me because I tweet about technology.
Okay, but how do you know? Do you know who your followers are? And how do you know who your followers are? تفوت عليهم واحد واحد تتفرج عليهم. For you, the question is for you.
Okay, sure. So I do know roughly who my followers are from a kind of global perspective, and then I know what countries they come from. I monitor, especially now that it has the new Connect thing, which I love. So I do monitor quickly who they are. Like, okay, this person, he's the CTO of a company, he's the founder of a company. Because I do decide based on that brief description, who's following, how much, what are they doing, what their recent tweets are, whether or not to follow.
Okay.
Do you guys monitor who?
Anybody wants to add about the followers? I mean, who your followers are? No? I wanted to ask, how did becoming the most influential Twitter in Lebanon change your life? I mean, does it get you more money, more friends, more, no? What are the benefits?
Gets to slay it more often, I think. I don't think it, I think Twitter in Lebanon is still, there's still a boom to come. I don't know if you guys agree, but it's not Facebook, and it's it's still quite small. So I'm still waiting for, all the offers for people asking me to tweet so I can make some money, or for, special vouchers to come my way, or free meals from Roadster. I'm always tweeting like, yum yum Roadster, they've never thought about sending me a meal. But I don't know when that's gonna happen. I think soon, the latest figures are about 100,000 people come in, and they're not very accurate, because I have lots and lots of friends who have come in very inactive Twitter accounts. So when they count the active accounts, I don't know إذا نطلع أكثر من 10,000 مثلا. I'm not sure. I still haven't seen that kind of, and other than getting invited to nice conferences to speak, I don't know if Twitter really gets us that clout yet.
Maya, your point of view on the same question.
Yeah, I agree with Nadine. It didn't really change anything, because I don't know why they did this list in the first place. I don't think it's relevant, because you can't really compare someone who tweets personally to someone like Haifa Wahbe. Of course, she will have much more followers. So I agree with what Nadine said. I don't think it means anything yet at this stage.
Good. I'm going to open the Q&A to the floor. Do I have questions? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Johnny Lapool. I follow you. I'm not sure your last name is.
Sankood.
I follow you as well, Ayman.
Ayman Aishani.
I think I follow you also. My name is Crossroad Coach there. I'm not sure if I'm following you.
Omar CHR.
Omar CHR.
How about me?
You probably don't follow
Do you follow me?
It's okay.
And your handle is?
I won't take that offensive.
No, that's not just being offensive. My question, I really admire what you're doing, guys. You're very courageous. In a lot of stances, you take a very courageous stance. And I really admire that. My question for you, see, on my timeline, I see a lot of people that I follow, they have interesting things that sometimes they go into conversations back and forth, that it's like all over my timeline, and I'm أطرش بالزفة بيقولوا, and we don't understand it. So I start to consider it as like spamming my timeline, and I have a tendency to unfollow this person. Where do you stand on that? How do you feel about that?
Well, the issue of having discussions on Twitter, it's normal to have these discussions back and forth. Usually at some point when it becomes beyond a certain, beyond 3 to 5 tweets, that's when you take it to another medium. So
you stop it.
That's usually more or less.
Okay.
But in case, I mean, what you're doing is fine. In terms of etiquette of Twitter, it's fine to unfollow people. It's different than unfriending somebody on Facebook. Don't unfriend people on Facebook, it's a big deal. Use unsubscribe, that would work better.
So, in terms of a conversation, right, if it's a topical question, right, we're debating something about a woman's, a law related to women's rights in Lebanon, right, and two people are debating it. If you're following both of them, it's probably because you find the subject interesting, right? And you will only see the comments if you follow both of them, since they're replies, right? And so what often happens is that conversation continues because someone else who is also interested in the followers of either of those people might also be interested in joining the conversation. So, right, you might see that 1, 2, 1, 2, oh, third person comes in, right, starts commenting as well. So, it's kind of my perspective.
I have another question, if you don't mind. Do you usually follow back every person who follows you?
No.
No? Why not?
No, because when I open my Twitter feed, I like to see tweets that I'm interested in. So when someone follows me, I check their profile, I see what they tweet about, and if it's something I'm interested in, I follow back. But I don't think it's so. I won't follow someone just because they follow me.
At the same time, I follow people who don't follow me.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone who follows you?
No, I don't follow everyone who follows me.
Yeah.
But not everyone I follow follows me back.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Because I noticed a pattern that when people follow me and I don't follow back, sooner or later they will unfollow you. It's like kind of,
no, but it's also a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got on Twitter something called like team follow back. You follow 1,000 people, and they will follow you back. It's etiquette. I like the etiquette, but it's nice to follow someone back. But once you get over 1,000, and I try to keep the people I follow under 1,000. لأن ما فيني لحق. I follow about 900 people, and I'm always missing too many tweets that I don't want to miss. But I do a lot of. There's a very good service called justunfollow.com, where you go and you see the people you're following. Are they inactive? Have they not tweeted in a long time? Have they left Twitter? And you can unfollow people so that you can make room to follow new people in their place.
How do you find inactive? What frequency would you consider to be inactive or active?
No, I unfollow people who haven't tweeted in a month. Unless they're like Maya, or like someone I really like a lot, and they haven't tweeted in a month, خلاص, because I don't have room. So I take people out to put new people in. خاصة إنه هلا in Lebanon, a lot of wonderful, interesting new people are getting on Twitter, and you want to make room for them.
Okay, can I seek another advice? Okay, my job, I work as a life coach and a trainer. So my tweets are mainly about either the events I'm doing, the trainings I'm hosting, or quotes. And Twitter is, splattered with quote accounts. So many quote accounts.
Yeah.
Do you advise me to go more into conversations with the followers, or to keep on doing that just to keep the brand as a life coach, the person who inspires and talks and quotes and philosophy and lessons?
So Johnny, is that the personal account, or is that the brand? Is that the brand?
It is a brand, but
but what would I see? Would I see Johnny, or
you see Crossroad Coach, Crossroad Coach, and we'll see Johnny Al-Ghul. You see, my brand as a coach is Johnny Al-Ghul, who is the Crossroad Coach. It's kind of a merger between my personal name and the brand of the company.
Okay, but at the end of the day, is this?
It is Crossroad Coach.
So it's Crossroad Coach.
Yes.
So it's a brand. It's a brand.
It is a brand. Yes.
Okay. And your question is, what would you say on your brand? Is that your question?
No. I always tweet in quotes. I tweet quotes. I retweet quotes.
Okay.
And sometimes I tweet about the events I'm hosting, a training I'm doing, or what have you. So, and I know that people are bored with quote accounts. So what could be your advice for someone like me?
Don't do quotes all the time.
Yeah.
Do very few, rarely, every 3 months. I think put it. Engage with people. Ask them questions, let them ask you, because I think it's much more important than.
And what are you?
Johnny, look at what you do offline on your events. Because you like coaching holds offline events. To see what people find value the most when you interact with your person, and you know, and share more of that online. If it's articles or tips or so on, and if quotes works for you as well, people like that. So base that on your actual business, on what people find value for that, and push that online.
I'm sorry, I hogged the conversation. Just one more question, because I see what happens on Facebook. I have I don't know 1,000 followers on Facebook. Friends.
بدنا نشوف قبل إذا في غير questions معي. Questions?
Quickly. So when I post quotes, especially like powerful quotes on Facebook, I get a lot of likes. So that's why I still tweet in quotes there. Yet I find it boring. The other quotes, I find them boring. So your advice was to engage more, is that it? With other people?
Of course, there's no question. Engage on Twitter. Nobody wants to, if I wanted to read quotes, I'd Google quotes.
Okay.
Unless they're these life-changing quotes, but no, engage. If I say something and you message me like, oh, I'm a life coach, I advise you to go do yoga مثلا because you seem tired today, then probably I'm going to engage with you. غير إنه the path to victory is ما بعرف شو.
I understand.
أكيد engage with people.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions?
What percentage of your tweets require offline action, and what's the success of that?
Can you repeat the question? What is the percentage of the
tweets requires offline action, something that has nothing to do with the internet?
offline action?
I don't know, go to a party, attend something, go to a protest, sit in.
Is it free or does it cost money?
You tell me.
So your question is, if we're out, do we share what we're doing? Is that your question?
I think he's saying if you're using Twitter as a call for action, what success rate do you have? And I would say pretty low. Right? Like, I just think that I read a while back something that described this, and it was like the internet of pages before, and you would read pages, and you can read a whole page, a whole article, going from there to the internet of streams, where you cannot read everything. It's not possible. So the best that you can do is dip into the stream at any given time and pull out some content. Whenever I'm tweeting, it's very likely that most of the people who are following me are not dipping into the stream at that point in time, right? Unless it just happens to be so. I think that even when you tweet, most people are not, even all of your followers, a small percentage of them are actually reading that tweet.
Questions? Yes.
Hello. If you follow 1,000 person on Twitter, how long does it take you per day to read their tweets?
That's the problem. Is I don't get to read all their tweets. I don't. I can't. But I use Icophone on Firefox, so it's always in the corner of my browser, and it pops up sometimes. But there's times during the day. In the morning, بلقط a few tweets. In the afternoon, بلقط a few tweets. When I'm bored at night on my phone, I بلقط some tweets. But there's no way I read everybody's tweets.
So, like he says, you have a generous stream of tweets.
Yeah, of course. I think we all do. And there's no unless
1,000. You follow 1,000 guys.
And girls.
And girls. Guys means girls.
Yeah.
Okay. The etiquette for Twitter, if it's a company, can you put your picture on the thumbnail, or you have to put the logo of your company?
أنا ما سمعت السؤال.
In Twitter, the thumbnail, what do you call it? The picture, the thumbnail. If it's a company, do you have to put your picture, personal picture, or the logo of your company?
The company.
Ideally, you'd extend your brand. Ideally, you'd extend your brand on Twitter like you do on your website or your other, online presence points. So that would be your logo, your background image, your colors, your name, and so on.
It's not personal.
No, it won't be your personal, because if your account is a brand account, it won't be your personal account.
Ayman. But sometimes you have an important tweet. Should you copy paste it so many times during the day, and the same tweet you repeat it so many times? Well, it is warning for people, for those who saw it the first time.
If you go back to the concept that Omar introduced of having, the stream and then people dip in, so different people dip into the stream at different times of the day. So if there's something important that you have and you want to share, it's fine to pass it on as long as you do it at different intervals during the day that are spaced out, and don't overdo it. It shows.
what technology do you have? I mean, do you all use Twitter.com, or do we have some other cool sites that maybe put all information together or organize the information together, or allows you to do other stuff with your followers? What do you use?
Are you using Ecophone?
Yeah, I love Ecophone. I don't like the big, heavy programs. I like very light programs.
I use a very simple and cute application called Tweety for Mac. It really does the basic minimum, and you can keep it on the side all the time while you're doing other stuff. Twitter.com is takes too much on my browser. I don't like to use the website, but I just open Tweety whenever I want to check new things. It's very basic and minimal, and just does what is enough for Twitter.
For you know, a usual day I use on the mobile I use the official Twitter app for iPhone. On the desktop I use the Twitter web and TweetDeck. But usually when I'm at events and so on, I add a few other tools in order to be able to catch up on everything that's happening.
Yeah, I used to use TweetDeck, and then I couldn't do what Nadine does, which is just like all this stuff is too much. My brain can't focus on too many things at the same time. So I use the web app, which is there, and then I like click on it sometimes, and then it reminds me that I need to tweet it when I go back.
Yeah, question.
You want to shout?
Mike.
Hi. I'm into technology since 2004, into AR, augmented reality, multi-touch, gesture recognition, you name it. Everything. Still, till now, into technology, help the business and everything regional. Still, I don't know really about Twitter, like how it's gonna help. I mean, if I'm gonna have Twitter popping up on my screen all the time, how am I gonna get my job done? So I don't think I should be the one who's tweeting. I mean, maybe I should have, I have someone who's doing this, online marketing with Facebook page, everything. But I'm not getting how will Twitter help my business to communicate with my target clients and all that.
How do you promote your existing business now?
Okay, I mean, we have our name now. It's,
you have your what?
I mean, we've been into the business since 2004. We have a good relationship with agencies, multinationals.
So it's referrals. It's not, you don't go out to events or
I mean, we participate in some exhibitions. We did JARTEX like a few times. Last week we were in Qatar in the Jazeera Film Festival, in the exhibition, production exhibition. We do activities. But I mean, really, Twitter, I don't know. I'm really into technology. Still, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting how I can use it for my business. I mean, as a person, I mean, who should I follow?
I think that it needs another time, maybe.
I mean, I have a Twitter account. I have a few people I follow, like some people follow me, but I don't have time for it.
Here, I would say a couple of things. One, maintaining relationships with people that you wouldn't otherwise see on a regular basis. That's sometimes a bit challenging, and what Twitter would do is allow you to do that. Or access people you don't have necessarily access to. The other thing is about thought leadership and brand, right? When you use Twitter as part of your business, you're branding your business as a thought leader, someone who adds value. So you can build a following of people who you can constantly communicate with, right? It's an asset that you're building for your organization. It's not marketing that you're doing and then once that ad is gone, it's gone. No, now you have people who are listening to you, interacting. Yes.
No, you have the time.
It's becoming a critical part of business.
Yeah. So I think that our time is up. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to promote 4 brands today. 4 brands. Follow them. The brands are Nadine Maawad, Maya Zankoul, Ayman Aitani, and Awai Christinis. Thank you for